None of these altcoins deserve to be in the same sentence as Bitcoin. Better yet, in a reserve held and maintained by the United States of America. Every single Bitcoin owned today was earned through proof of work, whether that is mining, literal proof of work, or whether that is doing real things of value in the real world and using your earnings and your wage to buy Bitcoin. Ethereum, over 60% of the supply was pre-mined. Ripple, 100% of the supply was pre-mined. Solana, over 50% of the supply was pre-mined. Cardano, over 50% of the supply was pre-mined.
The US is considering a crypto reserve, but Jack Mallers isn't buying it. He calls out Ethereum, Ripple, Solana, and Cardano as centralized, pre-mined assets that don't belong alongside Bitcoin. Unlike altcoins, Bitcoin was fairly distributed, with no insider advantage. It's the only absolute fixed supply asset in history. Yet now, the government wants to force taxpayers to buy into pre-mined digital assets. For Mallers, this is a fundamental problem. Bitcoin is a $500 trillion idea, solving the biggest issue in finance: how to store value fairly. No altcoin even comes close, and he won't compromise. No matter who's in charge, he's standing by Bitcoin's core principles. Do you agree? Should Bitcoin stand alone, or do altcoins belong in the conversation? Let us know in the comments, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.
President Trump, announced on Sunday a crypto reserve for the United States of America that would include Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Solana, and ADA, also known as Cardano. Let me be super clear with my thoughts. None of these altcoins deserve to be in the same sentence as Bitcoin. Better yet, in a reserve held and maintained by the United States of America. There's only one coin that did not have a pre-mine, that was fairly distributed, that is actually decentralized. One, and that is Bitcoin. No Bitcoin was created for the founders, was allocated to a special group. Every single Bitcoin owned today was earned through proof of work, whether that is mining, literal proof of work, or whether that is doing real things of value in the real world and using your earnings and your wage to buy Bitcoin. No cheating, no special interest, period. Gold did not have a pre-mine. Corn did not have a pre-mine. Aluminum did not have a pre-mine. Bitcoin did not have a pre-mine. Ethereum, over 60% of the supply was pre-mined. Ripple, 100% of the supply was pre-mined. Solana, over 50% of the supply was pre-mined. Cardano, over 50% of the supply was pre-mined. Human beings own over $900 trillion worth of stuff in the world, okay? We own money, currencies, the dollar, the euro, the pound. We own real estate. We own stock and equities. We own art. We own precious metals. We own collectibles, okay? It's estimated that about half of the stuff we own, we're using as a savings account. You don't own your second home on the beach in a place you never go to actually live in it. You own it because you're trying to keep the money you've earned. You don't own the stock in a company because you've gotten to know the leadership team, you're really excited about the product roadmap, and you want to share in future earnings of the business. It's because you have a 401k and you're just trying to save money towards retirement. You don't own the $100 million art piece because you, as some successful hedge fund manager, think that you need to put $100 million on your wall. You own it because you plan to sell it later. Bitcoin solves the use case for all us humans of I've created value for the world and I want to keep it. I want to store it. I want to bring it with me tomorrow. It is the best money we've ever seen. Therefore, Bitcoin is a $500 trillion idea. Half the world's value Bitcoin absorbs and solves for. It is solving the biggest problem we have today. If we can fix the money, we fix the largest problems we have in the world. Now, none of these other things are money. They're not trying to be money. They don't pretend to be money. They sell themselves on utility. They sell themselves on functionality. They sell themselves on technology. Now, you're telling me a pre-mined group of tokens that's selling itself as technology needs to be bundled in a reserve with something that's going after a $500 trillion opportunity that is the only provably absolute fixed supply asset in the history of our species. These things are more like Visa and Apple and Amazon and Nvidia than Bitcoin. Do you know what a 60% pre-mine or 100% pre-mine or a 50% pre-mine sounds to me? That sounds like Apple. That sounds like Amazon. That's a company. That's a company that has 100% of the stock. They let in early investors and they try and build something valuable. If you're going to force the American taxpayer to buy stuff by effectively putting a gun to our head, at least let me buy Apple. At least let me buy Amazon. At least let me buy Nvidia. The US government's going to put a gun to my head and force my hard-earned wage to buy Ripple? It's the most pathetic and embarrassing thing. It's outrageous. It's outrageous and it's being called out. The CEO of Gemini, the CEO of Coinbase. I've not seen one person I respect that's built something of value in this world credibly stand and applaud whatever the hell Sunday was. It is outrageous and ridiculous. These things at best are companies and at worst are scams. And the United States looks ridiculous supporting them. It is outrageous. I'm 30 years old. I plan to be a father and raise my kids in this country. This isn't a joke for me. Prior generations have dumped all their debt and all their bad decisions and all their misallocation of capital on my generation. And Bitcoin's our chance to fix it. And get these meddling pieces of shit out of our strategic reserve. And if you're going to force us to buy pre-mined companies, at least let us acquire the best performing ones that people actually use around the world. All that I saw from Trump's post is who donated to the guy, not what is strategic for our country. Period. Period. Bitcoin is a $500 trillion idea that can fix the biggest problems in the world today. I've not met a soul on this planet that uses Ripple, ever. I've seen all the press releases. I've seen all the banks claim stuff. Never in my life. Never in my life. And let's say something like Ripple goes on to be the next Visa. Visa is worth $700 billion and it's probably overvalued. I'm saying Bitcoin is already worth close to $2 trillion and it's going on $500 trillion. It's going to restore the ability for everyone to consume the things they need and save the value that they want. Ridiculous. And the last thing I'll say, let me be super clear about who I am as a man, okay? People have reached out to me and said, hey, you should calm down your tone. You shouldn't talk like that on the public. You know, you've garnered quite a big following to be that aggressive on topics and to certain people. Let me be clear about something. I don't plan on compromising anything. What Bitcoiners and the wider market can expect from me is integrity, ethics, principles. I'm not here to make friends. I don't need more friends. Okay? I'm not here to make compromises. This notion that if crypto wins, that means Bitcoin wins as well. I don't ever plan on looking my future son in the eye when he asked, Daddy, why did you support Ripple in our strategic reserves? I plan on saying I didn't. And I don't care. I don't care if it's the president, a super important CEO, or someone down the street. Don't take it as arrogance, by the way. When I'm wrong, and I admit it, and I change my opinion. But if I believe that something is mission critical and important and ethical and principled and integral, I will not bend, and I don't care who you are. Bitcoin takes no prisoners. Bitcoin will humble you. It is an absolute ego test no matter what, no matter who you are. Bitcoin operates on a set of principles that do not bend. There are no cheat codes. There are no silver bullets. You cannot route around the fact that Bitcoin is fair. And that ethical equality is protected by cryptography. Even if you're the US government and the president of the United States, you will get embarrassed if you don't know what you're doing and you don't follow the rules, just like the rest of us. So for all the people out there that want me to say, well, as long as these other people win, we win too, that's not how I roll. That's not how I play ball. That won't be the purpose of my life. I don't need more friends. I don't need more compromises. I don't denominate my life in fiat gains. I'm here for a better world and for the future of our species to be better. The future of society is only as strong as the ethics we instill right now. So if I see bullshit, I call bullshit. Sorry, sue me.